Where are we? Tuesday afternoon. It's so dark outside, it's raining. This video is literally going to be me sitting in darkness. But I wanted to come on here and do a video that is very close to my heart. I get asked this question a lot. It's something I used to struggle with constantly. And I got a DM the other day that I wanted to tell you about that had such a, I hate that word, but triggering question for me, which was, how do I remain positive when I struggle to meet anybody? I feel like it's been years of disappointment and I feel like I'm going to give up. Okay, so unless you are that unicorn in here, every single person I know has felt like that at some point, especially me. I felt like it was years of wading through treacle and like I was stuck constantly, and like it was exhausting just to think all the time, okay, maybe the next one will work, maybe the next one will work, maybe the next date, maybe the next swipe, maybe the kind of next whatever, and when you do feel like you've been disappointed over and over again, it's exhausting, because it's just, perhaps you've had one too many bad dates, or you've met somebody you like and you've been ghosted, or you feel like you've spent half your adult life on apps swiping, and you're asking, where are all the decent people? So yes, I wanted to do a video on really practical ways that you can, I guess, maintain the hope, or bring a little bit of positivity back. And before I start on that, I do just want to say as well that I think there is a time and a place not to be positive. I think there's a lot of sort of toxic positivity going on at the moment, where you feel guilty for feeling disappointed, or you feel guilty for saying that you want to give up. And I think toxic positivity is when you pretty much feel guilt or can't express any emotion that isn't seen as really positive. So sometimes we do need those days where we wallow and we think this is shit, life is shit, fuck everything, we do need those days, okay? But I think the issue is when those days and that attitude becomes your whole story and your whole world. That's where we get really stuck. And I know I've talked to you before about it, but our stories, those things of all men are shit, I'm going to be alone forever, etc., etc., when that becomes part of your identity, like it did with me, I was the party girl, I was one that was the always funny story, my story was love is hard, how do I end up in these situations, where are all these men, why do I interrupt players, that sort of stuff. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the issue is not that you need to feel positive all the time, and not that you need to constantly be hopeful and constantly in that state of excitement, but the issue does become when we let ourselves sink and let disappointing events cloud all of our future, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I wanted to really give you 3 to 5, probably 5, because I like to chat, and I have actually written them down for once, so I won't be rambling too much. Things we can do to raise that a bit more if you are ready to shift and get back to a place where you are hopeful and you are excited to meet somebody. And I think as well, it's horrible to feel like you're going to be alone forever. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling. It makes you feel lonely and alone and like you're not lovable and all that, and that's not very nice. So if you are ready to get out of that slump, then I think these are really practical things you can do if you are stuck in a rut. Right, number 1, this is such a big one that I see with clients over and over and over and over and over again. Stop treating dating and finding somebody like it's a chore and a part-time job that you have to do. What are you doing? It's a fine line, because this isn't going to be an excuse to tell you to stop dating and things like that. Because you do have to do it, but it should be fun, okay? It shouldn't be a chore. You shouldn't be saying, right, I've got to sit here for 5 hours and swipe, and I've got to go, if I go on 100 dates, then that I'm gonna potentially meet 3 people, all that stuff. It shouldn't be like that. So if you are in that space, then we need to do something to change your routine. We need to do something to change that attitude but physically change it. You know, start saying yes to things that make you nervous, or hang out with people that you wouldn't normally. Say yes to situations that you would usually avoid, so you can put yourself in different situations outside of your comfort zone and outside of that sort of dating, work, chore routine that you've built yourself. So yeah, I think take the pressure off. It's not a job. It's not a job. This is your love life. You deserve to have fun, and you deserve for it to feel good. Number 2, remember that you have as much power as you want. Okay? It's something I hear all the time. They have all the power. Well, they don't. Stop giving it to them. You know, dating is about you. And I think that one of the reasons we feel so disappointed is when we feel like we've put a lot in and haven't got anything out, or that they don't like us and we like them, or that they haven't lived up to our expectations. But we kind of forget that dating is about how we feel, about what we're looking for, and about what works for us as well. So remember that it is a joy to get to know you and a privilege to have your time. And that it's not all about you putting on a performance or auditioning for a role. So go into that date or dating situations thinking, okay, I'm going to have a good time here, and I'm going to find out by the end of the day if I want to see them again. How do I connect with them on a deep level? What is happening here? Okay, not that you are auditioning for a job interview. Again, goes back to the work thing, doesn't it? Which brings me on to my 3rd point, and I know I've talked about this a lot, but expectations, guys. And I think we put a lot of pressure on the expectations and the attachment we have to the outcome of our love life, which is we're going to meet one person and get married and have babies and live happily ever after, and if it doesn't happen when we want, then we're going to be very, very annoyed. You know, that is predominantly, not all the time, but a lot of the time, the reason people date. So there is a huge pressure on meeting somebody. So rather than focusing on that, it might actually be time for you to step away a little bit, put the spotlight on another area of your life, you know, bring the joy back, bring the focus back to you making yourself happy and finding that joy. Again, say yes to things you might not normally do. Say, you know, I get every client I work with, the first thing they do is write a list of things that bring you joy, and do one every day, a little thing. Just start making yourself happy and start focusing on the experience you're having rather than the expectation of the date or the romantic situation. And start to enjoy the ride a bit more. You know, how would you show up if you knew 100% that your person was on their way and you were going to meet them? What would you do? Sorry, my thing's just gone off. What would you do? How would you act? How would you feel? And you want to channel that energy, because, you know, do you really think that the universe has singled you out to be alone forever? You and you alone has singled you out? No, it's bollocks. It hasn't. Okay, so start acting from that energy that you know it's going to happen. You're excited it to happen. In the meantime, how are you going to act? What are you going to enjoy? What are you going to do? Okay. 4, oh God, I think this video is already at 10 minutes, isn't it? I knew I was going to talk for ages. Okay, number 4, I have spoken about this so many times. Everybody thinks it's trite, but it really is so important. You know, when we're looking at positive psychology, there are so many studies that show the quickest way to bring hope and joy and abundance back into your life is by focusing on what you have, not what you don't have. And of course, that means the practice of gratitude. So it doesn't have to be a long practice, guys, but when you start to feel like you're slipping into those moments, focus on what you have. Write a list of 10 things you're grateful for about your day and about your life. Focus on why you're grateful to be single. Think about all the amazing things you can do right now that you couldn't necessarily do if you were with a partner. You know, it can be anything from starfishing in bed to being able to book a spontaneous holiday, or up and leave and go somewhere else and, you know, create exactly the life you want to have, but because you can be selfish, completely selfish. So get into that gratitude mindset. And yeah, and I think as well, those 4, if you do those together, I think that will massively change your kind of mindset around dating, and it will hopefully yeah, you can start to find that hope again. And number 5, have left this to the end, but if you have been stuck in a rut for a while, or you have a pattern, or you think you have a pattern, you don't know why you're only attracted to that unavailable guy, blah blah blah, there might be something more going on beneath the surface that you are not aware of. So it might be a question of you healing what needs to be healed, rather than kind of jumping from relationship to relationship or date to date, or focusing on the relationship as a way to solve your problems. So if there is something there, then it might be time for you to think, actually, do you know what? Enough is enough. Let's look at what's going on and focus on what needs to be healed, rather than slightly more quick fixes. So yeah, those. And of course, if you do want to do that, then drop me a note, or look into therapy, or start reading around it, whatever is going to be your starting point to do that kind of underneath work, so you don't keep repeating the same pattern again and again. Just start somewhere, my loves. Yeah. Oh God, I'm at 12 minutes already. I was like, I'll do a 5-minute really quick video. Anyway, let me know what you think about this, because as I said, it's super close to my heart. Yeah, and lots of love. Speak to you later.